what's going on, guys? I am BlackOpsAmazing. Welcome yourselves back to another zombies video on the channel, where today I'm taking your questions from the comment section below and answering them to do with the zombie storyline and Easter eggs. If there's anything you want to know, leave your comments down below and hopefully I can pick them for the next video. Make sure you are subscribed if you want to stay up to date with the latest zombies content. Drop a like rating by the end if you enjoy. Of course, you don't have to if you don't want to, and enjoy. So the first question of today from GL, is that's gel? Gel? Anyway, this person says, in Chronicles, are the crew revisiting places, or is it just a better version of the maps? So to rephrase that, what I believe you're asking me is, with these Zombies Chronicles maps, is it our crew going back in time to revisit these places, or is it something else? I don't exactly know what you mean by better versions of the maps, but we can clearly see by Zombies Chronicles, the maps that we have, whether it's Nakder and Toten, Verrucht, Shinonuma, Origins, you can clearly see these maps are different in small ways. They have small, subtle changes about them. There are some objects that are there which weren't there before. There are some changes. There are some new Easter eggs in terms of radios that explain things. One of the more noticeable things, obviously, is the weapons. We have futuristic weapons, whereas before on Nakder and Toten for World at War, they were old World War II weapons. This time on BO3, on Zombies Chronicles, they are futuristic weapons, so that's another change. A few other changes are on Ascension, for example, we can see the Shadow Man in the window, and also on Ascension in Black Ops 1, Richtofen was actually wearing a spacesuit, whereas if we look in BO3, he's now just wearing his normal clothing. And that's just a few changes. There are actually quite a few more in Chronicles comparing these new maps to the older ones. Clearly, they are different, but why? Well, although it's not been explained to us, it's not mentioned in the Chronorium, it hasn't been told to us by Jason Lundell or anyone like that, we believe that these maps are in separate universes to the maps that we've played previously. They are fractures, which explains why we see the very subtle changes. For example, if we take a look at Derice and the Giant, we know that the Giant is a Decepto fracture. Derice is in its original timeline, I believe it was Dimension 63, and then in the Giant you will notice things are slightly different. There is the giant robot in the background, there's snow, there's the gobblegun machines, futuristic weapons. The reason we see all of this is because the Giant is a separate fractured universe. And so I'm thinking it's the same for the Chronicles maps. These maps must be fractures of the Dimension 63 universe that we played those maps in before, and that is the reason why things are slightly different. It's not our characters going back in time to these locations. We are not playing as the same set of characters that we played in the original maps. We are playing as Richtofen, Takeo, Nikolai and Dempsey from different universes. They are the same, but they're not. It's kind of difficult to explain, but there we go. The next question from Turtle360 says, hey BOA, why is Richtofen's name on the altar on the map Shangri-La? You can hear it on the tape of the two British explorers when they're stuck in the loop. I'm very interested. Well, to find out this information, we need to go all the way back to the beginning of the storyline, where Richtofen for the first time travelled to the moon. We know in the 1940s, Richtofen and Schuster conducted their first human teleportation test, where Richtofen volunteered himself. He stepped into the teleporter and was teleported to the moon, where he encountered the MPD for the first time. We know when he was in front of it, he touched the MPD, he became electrocuted, and he then began hearing the many voices of corruption in his head. One of those was actually the Shadow Man. Richtofen had now basically turned evil. He was the Shadow Man's apprentice. After he touched the MPD, the device then teleported Richtofen to Shangri-La, and now in Shangri-La, because he was corrupted by the Dark Ether, Richtofen was gradually driven insane by an obsession to find Argotha. And so, on his journeys through Shangri-La, through the temples and the mountains, on his exploration to find Argotha, he came across the Shangri-La temples. And living in this area was the natives of Shangri-La. Of course, the natives living there had never seen anyone like Richtofen before, and so they worshipped him. The natives worshipped Richtofen, and they then built an altar in his name. Richtofen from then on went on to encounter the focusing stone, and after being missing for nearly a month, he then returned back to Schuster to Derice. So to answer your question, the reason why we see an altar in Shangri-La with Richtofen's name on it is because it was built by the natives for Richtofen. They were worshipping him, and so they built him an altar. That's why we see it. Jose or Jose? I'm not sure how you pronounce that. But this person says, does grief have anything to do with the storyline? PS, love your vids. So simple answer, no, grief doesn't have anything to do with the story. As we know, it was just a fun game mode that was added into Black Ops 2. If for some reason you don't know what it is or you've never played it, it's where two factions, in this case it was the CIA and the CDC, fight against each other either with or against the other team for survival. But in the end, only one team could win. The game mode, I believe, was on Town, Farm. You could play it on Buried and also Alcatraz. If you played on Mob of the Dead, instead of playing as the CIA and the CDC, you'd play as the Alcatraz guards and the Alcatraz prisoners, which was pretty interesting. So yeah, it was basically whatever team survives, last man standing. But to answer your question, it doesn't have anything to do with the story. Gabby Gaming 375 says, if you think you've answered all of the questions, BOA, then I've got some for you. Who is the man in the Ascension loading screen and what happened to him? What is happening in the Nectar and Totem loading screen, and also what are all of the inventions on the Moon loading screen? Love your videos, keep it up. So I've answered this first question before, but I believe the person you're talking about is this one in the Essential loader screen, and I think this is Yuri. I mean, it can only really be two people, Yuri or Gersh. We know that Gersh is bald, so we can rule him out, and so for that reason I would say this is Yuri. We can see him in the labs there, messing with something. Maybe he's building the Gersh device, I don't know. But then we can see on the right, that seems to be him getting teleported by Samantha over to the Pentagon, where he turns into the Pentagon Thief. So I believe that person's Yuri. Your next question said, what is happening in the Nectar and Totem loading screen? This one is something I've never really paid too much attention to or thought about what's actually going on, and I still don't really know. It's strange because it doesn't seem to have any correlation to the map itself, whereas usually the loading screens do, at least in most cases. I mean, if you take a look at it, we've got 1964 on the left with someone, I don't know who that is, standing in the spotlight. We have people marching in a line, people in front of computers. We have the dates 1959 and then 1943. None of those dates, as far as I'm aware, are specific to a map or to any event, any major event that happened in Zombies. And then on the right, we have crates that are going to Cuba and other places like that. So it's strange. It seems like there's some kind of brainwashing going on. Is this Group 935 trying to control the zombies? But it doesn't really look like these people are zombies. It just looks like they're more brainwashed, normal people just under someone's control. Nothing similar to that I know of comes to my mind in terms of this one is so confusing. On the right hand corner at the bottom there, we seem to have someone coming in or out of a teleporter with numbers surrounding him. That's kind of similar to the Pentagon Thief with the numbers around him, but I don't know, this one's so strange. I wish I could explain it, but I really can't. If you guys have an idea, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, but that's unfortunately all I can give you for that one. And then your final question said, my friend, what are all of the inventions on the Moon loading screen? Again, I've taken a look at this before. We've got loads of different things. Obviously, we've got the old loading screen and the new one as well. I don't think it really means anything. We've just got different creations and things that we do, and also a few things that we don't see in Zombies. We've got Speed Cola, we've got the Vril interface, the Pack-a-Punch machine, the control panel, the Monkey Bomb. You'll have to just take a look and zoom in on it for yourself, because there's not really too much interesting things I can say about this. There's the Thunder Gun, the spacesuit, just other things like that. But like I said, I don't think there's any hidden secret in there that really means too much. Moving on to the next question, Boxing Gamer said, BOA, which maps could use a remake? What I mean is maps that could use like more rooms and a new design and stuff like that. Kind of like how it's rumored that Mob of the Dead is coming back to Black Ops 4, but kind of as a redesign. It's returning, but with new areas that are opened, where possibly we could go into the underground labs that were built by Stanley Ferguson and new areas on the map as well. So what other maps do you think could do this? One map that I've always thought you could add more to is the Giant, or Derice. If you just take a look at that map and how big the building around us is, it's massive. There's loads of stories. I've always thought there should be a lot more to that map, where we could possibly go upstairs. There's rooms that belong to Maxis, his office, that we aren't able to go into. There's so many doors that we can't open. Like I said, the building is massive, and also the Giant was Group 935's main base of operations. It was like their headquarters. It was where everything started off, and so in my opinion, there should be so many more secrets about that map that we can find. Like I said, Dr. Maxis's office is closed off, we aren't able to get to it. So just imagine, and I don't really want the giant returning again as a remaster. We've had it already. God, I can't even talk today. But if it was to return, I think they could really open up some new areas. Max's office, Schuster, Dr. Groff's, Sophia's maybe where Richtofen worked, and he built the Wunderwaffe where they were doing these zombie experiments. They were doing so much at Derice. There's so many areas they can add in and give us loads of new interesting stuff. I think that'd be a great one. But like I said, we've already had that as a remaster. So in terms of other maps, I'm not really sure. I think Shangri-La's got a lot of hidden temples that we could possibly go in. But I don't know, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Anyway guys, there we go. That's all I've got for you for today's video. If you have enjoyed the video, make sure you drop a like rating. Of course, you don't have to if you don't want to. Make sure you are subscribed to stay up to date with the latest content on the channel. And until next time, goodbye.